We live in a world that fears silence, a world that runs from stillness, where the moment you're alone with your thoughts, your hand reaches for your phone, where peace doesn't feel peaceful anymore. It feels empty, uncomfortable, wrong. When did that happen? When did the absence of noise become something we avoid? When did boredom become the enemy and distraction become the cure? Before we begin, I'd love to know, where in the world are you finding a moment of quiet today? Drop a comment below. Let's see how far this reflection travels. There's something strange happening to us, something we don't talk about enough. We've become addicted to stimulation, not in the dramatic, obvious way, but in the quiet, creeping way that rewires how we experience reality itself. We can't sit in a waiting room without scrolling. We can't take a walk without a podcast. We can't eat a meal without a screen in front of us. And when we try to do nothing, when we try to just be, it feels like torture. The ancient Stoics had a word for this kind of restlessness. They called it acedia, a spiritual listlessness, a refusal to be present. But they didn't have smartphones. They didn't have infinite scroll, algorithmic feeds, or notifications designed by engineers to hijack the brain's reward system. They had silence. And somehow, they still struggled with it. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "People seek retreats for themselves in the country, by the sea, or in the mountains. But this is altogether unphilosophical, when it is possible at any hour to find a retreat within yourself." He understood something we've forgotten. That peace isn't a place. It's not a vacation, a playlist, or a perfectly curated moment. It's a state of mind. And the reason it feels boring is because we've trained ourselves to fear it. Let's talk about what's really happening in your brain when you reach for distraction. Every time you get a like, a message, a new video, a dopamine hit, your brain releases a small burst of pleasure. It's the same chemical that once helped our ancestors survive. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure. It's about anticipation. It's the feeling of maybe something good is about to happen, and that feeling is addictive. Studies show that the average person checks their phone over 100 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. We're not using our phones. We're compulsively seeking relief from the discomfort of being unstimulated. And the more we do it, the more our brains adapt, our attention spans shrink, our tolerance for boredom disappears, and peace, real deep, quiet peace, starts to feel like deprivation. The Buddha said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." And right now, we're becoming a species that cannot sit still, that cannot be alone, that cannot tolerate the sound of our own thoughts. But here's the paradox. The noise we're chasing, it's not making us happier, it's making us more anxious, more fragmented, more exhausted, because stimulation is not the same as fulfillment. Distraction is not the same as peace. And the more we run from silence, the louder the chaos inside us becomes. So what does true peace feel like? It feels like nothing. And that's exactly why it feels boring. Think about it. Peace doesn't announce itself. It doesn't vibrate in your pocket. It doesn't give you a notification. It just is. It's the absence of urgency, the absence of craving, the absence of the need to be anywhere other than where you are. And to a mind trained on constant stimulation, that feels like emptiness. But the ancient philosophers knew better. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear?" That's what peace is. It's the settling, the clearing, the return to stillness after the storm. But we don't wait for the mud to settle anymore. We keep stirring it. We keep adding more. We keep the water cloudy because at least it looks like something's happening. If this kind of calm reflection speaks to you, give the video a like. it helps the peace spread. And let me ask you this. Do you ever feel uneasy when things get too quiet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. Let's go deeper. Why does boredom feel so unbearable? Because we've been conditioned to believe that every moment should be optimized, that downtime is wasted time, that if you're not producing, consuming, or being entertained, you're falling behind. But the Stoics would say, you're not behind. You're exactly where peace lives. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." He wasn't talking about productivity. He was talking about presence, about the way we let our lives slip through our fingers because we're too distracted to actually live them. When you're scrolling, you're not living, you're spectating. When you're binge watching, you're not resting, you're numbing. And when you're filling every silence with noise, you're not avoiding boredom, you're avoiding yourself. Because that's what boredom really is. It's the moment when you come face to face with your own mind, with your own thoughts, with the questions you've been too busy to ask. And that can be terrifying, because in the silence, you might realize you're not happy. You might realize you're lonely. You might realize you've been running for so long, you forgot what you were running from. But here's the truth. The ancient wisdom teaches us that discomfort is the doorway. The boredom is the beginning. The silence is where the real work happens. In Buddhism, there's a practice called zazen, just sitting. No mantra, no visualization, no goal, just sitting with whatever arises. And at first, it's excruciating. Your mind screams, your body fidgets, you want to run. But if you stay, if you let the discomfort be there without trying to fix it, something shifts. The noise starts to quiet, the mind starts to settle, and beneath all the chaos, you find something you forgot was there, peace. Not the peace of a perfect moment, not the peace of having everything you want, but the peace of being okay with what is, the peace of not needing anything to be different, the peace of simply being alive, here, now, without the need for more. That's the peace the modern world has taught us to fear, because it doesn't sell anything. It doesn't require an upgrade. It doesn't come with a subscription. It's free. And it's always been here. If you find meaning in these reflections, consider subscribing. It helps us keep this space calm. And I want to ask you something. What does peace mean to you? Not the Instagram version, the real version. Comment below. Now let's talk about what happens when you start to reclaim silence, when you stop filling every gap with noise, when you let boredom teach you instead of running from it. At first, it feels wrong. Your brain protests. It craves the dopamine. It reaches for the phone. It invents emergencies, tasks, reasons why you need to do something, anything other than sit still. But if you resist that urge, even for a few minutes, something remarkable happens. You start to notice things, the way light moves across the wall, the sound of your own breathing, the texture of the present moment, and you realize that life, real life, has been happening all along. You were just too distracted to see it. There's a concept in Stoicism called prosos, attention. It means being fully present, fully awake to the moment you're in. Marcus Aurelius practiced it constantly. He would remind himself, concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice. That's not productivity advice. That's a philosophy of presence, of giving your full attention to the life you're actually living instead of the one you're scrolling through. And when you do that, when you stop outsourcing your attention to algorithms and start reclaiming it for yourself, you discover something powerful. You discover that you don't need constant stimulation to feel alive. You don't need endless content to feel fulfilled. You don't need noise to feel safe. You just need to be here. Let me share something practical, but not in the way you might expect. I'm not going to tell you to meditate for 20 minutes or delete all your apps. I'm going to suggest something simpler, something the ancients would recognize. Walk without music, eat without a screen, sit without scrolling. Just once, just to see what happens. Not as a challenge, not as self-improvement, but as an experiment in presence. As a way of asking, what does it feel like to just be here? You might be surprised. You might feel uncomfortable. You might feel bored. But you might also feel something else. Something quieter. Something deeper. Something that's been waiting for you beneath all the noise. The poet Rumi wrote, "There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen." That's the voice you meet in the silence. The one that knows what you need before you ask. The one that's been drowned out by notifications, opinions, and the constant hum of other people's lives. It's still there. It's always been there, you just have to get quiet enough to hear it. And here's what that voice will tell you if you listen. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are not broken for needing rest. You are not weak for craving peace. You are human. And humans were never meant to live at this pace. The Buddha taught that suffering comes from craving, from the endless wanting of more. More pleasure, more validation, more stimulation. And the path to freedom is not getting more. It's wanting less. It's learning to be satisfied with enough, with this breath, this moment, this life, exactly as it is. That's what peace really is. Not the absence of problems, not the presence of perfection, but the deep, unshakable knowing that you are enough, that this moment is enough, that you don't need anything else to be okay. And that quiet, radical contentment is what the world calls boring, but the philosophers call it wisdom. If you're still here, still listening, still reflecting, thank you. Consider subscribing if this resonates with you. We're building something different here, something slower, something real. Let me leave you with one more thought, one more reflection to carry with you. In a world that profits from your distraction, your attention is an act of rebellion. In a culture that glorifies busyness, your rest is a revolution. And in a society that fears silence, your peace is power. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to prove it. You just have to live it. One quiet moment at a time. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." That's it. That's the whole teaching. Be here, be now. Let the noise fall away. Let the world spin without you for a moment. Let yourself rest in the simple, profound truth that you are alive, and that is enough. The ancient philosophers didn't have the distractions we have, but they had the same restless minds, the same fear of silence, the same tendency to run from themselves. And they discovered what we're rediscovering now. That peace is not something you find, it's something you allow. You allow the noise to fade, you allow the mind to settle, you allow yourself to be bored, to be still, to be nothing but present. And in that allowing, something opens, something that's been closed for a long time, the door to yourself. So here's my invitation, not a command, not a rule, just an invitation. The next time you feel the pull to fill the silence, pause, just for a moment, and ask yourself, what am I running from? What am I afraid to feel? What would happen if I just stayed here in this uncomfortable, boring, beautiful moment of peace? You might not like the answer, but you might also find something you've been searching for all along. In a loud world, peace is rebellion, and stillness is power. Thank you for being here, for listening, for choosing this moment of reflection in a world that never stops moving. Drop a comment and let me know what you're taking away from this. And if this brought you even a moment of calm, share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, be still, be here, be peace.